Hey guys, Smashcast here. I'm PJ
AG.
and today it's going to be a little expansion off of our other video about a character rant, and we're basically going to be talking about Sakurai's thoughts on some of the Fire Emblem characters that were added in and some poll results. And I just wanted to add in from the last video. I mean, we're aware it got a lot of hate, and I think we were a bit too harsh, and we weren't complaining really. I mean, we kind of were, but um, it wasn't really our intention, and it was just an opinionated video, I guess. So, next time something like that comes around, we'll be kind of more fan oriented and not be so needy, I guess. So, you just gonna start off here.
Okay, so the first bit here is that Sakurai realized that there was way too many Fire Emblem characters in the game. So we all really noticed this, and the reason behind this is that in Famitsu's latest column by Sakurai, he stated that there was like 3 different characters. So Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta, and they all fulfilled a role. So Bayonetta would be the winner of the fighter ballot. And there was almost 2 million people who voted worldwide, and pretty much she was the only winner by like that's actually feasible to put into the game, because we all know who really won the game. I mean the ballot.
Shrek.
Yeah, definitely. That guy, like, just top of our list right there. I voted for him at least 5 times with using different IPs, but you know. Anyways, so Bayonetta is the winner of the poll that they could actually put into the game. Cloud is from Final Fantasy, and he's the most popular Final Fantasy character. I think they just wanted a really popular third-party character, and he was they wanted a Final Fantasy character. That's essentially he's really vague about it, but he says that they wanted a popular Final Fantasy character, but honestly, the only Final Fantasy character that people who haven't played the games know is Cloud. You don't need to play the games to know about Cloud. So it makes sense they would put him in. So that was great. And then Corrin, he says that he didn't want Corrin in. He actually kind of voted against having Corrin in, but then the development staff told him that it would be an interesting fighter, and this way they could put him into the thing. But mainly, the third character was supposed to be promotion for a Nintendo game. So he states here, they've been thinking about adding a character from a title that's about to or just saw release, meaning Fire Emblem Fates, which came out, it came out in June in Japan, and it's coming out in the West in February. So, what's your opinion on this, PJ?
So, I mean, adding Corrin in, I mean, like, there was a very different reaction between Bayonetta getting announced and Corrin getting announced for me. I was like, not another Fire Emblem character, and it was like, yes. But, like, I think Corrin is going to be a pretty good character, actually, and I mean, I'd rather the Inklings in, and a lot of people would rather other characters, but, can't really change anything here, but, we'll just have to see what Corrin brings to the table when they're announced in February, or when they're released in February.
Yeah, so, like, as PJ said, a lot more people were hyped about Bayonetta rather than Corrin. You can just tell by the amount of views that the actual announcements on this official Smash Bros. YouTube page got. The amount of views on Bayonetta's video was significantly more than Corrin. And one thing is that both those characters, when you look at it, they're both pretty unknown characters, because Bayonetta is only known to people who have
Played it.
Wii Yeah, you can play it, but also the main thing is that I think that Bayonetta is more popular than ever because of Bayonetta 2 releasing on the Wii U. So anyone who's like into Nintendo would know Bayonetta by now. But then Corrin is even more like lesser known than Bayonetta. But the thing is that Bayonetta had probably a bigger following because Corrin hasn't been released in a game yet, which would be why everyone's so opinionated on the character. But it's also, there was a lot of people who were worrying that there was too many Fire Emblem characters in this game. So hopefully, my hope is that, like I said in the last video, that it's gonna have a really good moveset, but there could be that one thing that leads to a downfall. Hopefully it's not like that, because if you look at what the development team said, they said how Sakurai was promised that Corrin was supposed to have a really interesting moveset. Now, if we take a look back at the trailer, it was a pretty awesome moveset so far. And it's quite different from the other Fire Emblem characters, being that like the last two, well, actually no, because Roy, like the Robin and Corrin are probably the most different out of all of the rest. So it really varies upon the Fire Emblem characters, which is a good thing, because if you're gonna have a ton of Fire Emblem characters, you want to make sure you have a few characters that are completely different from the others.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like Corrin and Robin are kind of similar. Roy and Marth are kind of similar. So like, you know, Ike and Lucina, and Ike was like really kind of the only unique-ish one. I mean, like, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. He's they all kind of like borrow moves from each other, but Ike is in my in my terms, I like Ike probably most out of all Fire Emblem characters because he looks pretty badass. That's I use him quite often. Every time that I'm just trolling, I just whip out Ike because Ike has such an annoying recovery, so I don't use it like except when I'm trolling. But you know, Corrin, like, I feel like maybe it would have been better if Nintendo maybe promoted one of their other games other than Fates, because as Sakurai said that this character was only added in because it was supposed to be whatever, just like publicity. It's a publicity stunt for just an upcoming game in the West, or the people who are just slow to buying it in the Japan. And of course, Fire Emblem Fates is going to be a huge game when it comes out because Awakening had such amazing reviews, and I don't have a 3DS, but if I did, I would want to buy that because the concept seems really interesting to me. So we actually have a video coming out talking about the top 10 people that we would like to see in Smash Bros. Obviously, they're not getting in at this point, but we're talking about the top 10 that we think that would have been awesome to have seen in Smash. So, like, you know, there was other, like, Nintendo games out at the moment, like PJ said, that was really voted for. I think that would have been the Inklings, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish the Inklings got in, like, over Corrin especially. Like, they're such a unique character, and I think we really needed that for the DLC. I mean, I'm not gonna say that there was a bunch of clones, but you know, I just think the Inklings, it would just be good for Splatoon, and also just for promoting it and for Smash also.
Yeah, that would probably be better. But Sakurai goes on to talk about how in the column how much like George Lucas, he gets the inevitable fan criticism that like he's subjected to. So it's pretty interesting how Sakurai has talked about this, because he talks about this a lot when he does Smash Bros games. That's why he's so keen on quitting after Brawl. He wanted Brawl to be his last game. Then he goes on to do Smash Bros 5. I mean 4, sorry, because 5 is helmed by Namco. But so Sakurai is always talking about how he doesn't want to do that because he got a lot of hate during Brawl because it wasn't as like competitive as Melee was. And he says it's not as much fun. Like, he kind of quotes how like Lucas said something about how you go and make a movie, all you do is get criticized. It's not much fun. You can't experiment, which is a really big problem because, you know, people need to be able to experiment every now and then. But if you look at Sakurai's thing, he kind of thinks that a lot of people hate him, but people don't really. If you look back, so you have the original Smash, then you have Melee, which was a lot more competitive than Brawl was. Then Brawl comes down, it's a lot slower, it's not being played at tournaments. But if you look at it, Brawl was the most popular Smash Bros. Game in the series. Because if you look at it, it's on the Wii, which was like one of the biggest selling consoles for Nintendo. And Brawl was pretty much what got everyone into Smash, because let's be honest, a lot of people loved Melee and got into it through Melee, but a lot of people found Brawl, played it, and then moved backwards to Melee for a more competitive stance, which is pretty cool. And then that's when Smash Bros. Jumps in, as is before. and does a good balance between that. So I would argue with Sakurai saying that people did say, yeah, they did criticize him for making not as competitive game as Melee, but he was able to experiment, and people still bought Brawl. So that was actually a pretty good experiment if you look at it like that.
Yep,
So
agreed.
pretty much, guys, what do you think of all these topics? The link to the actual article here, I'll link it in the description. So what's your thoughts? Comment down below. And if you think that we were too harsh, sorry about that for the last video. And we won't do that next time. So anyways, guys, Smash Guy signing out. Peace.